we pay for it with private business and citizen tax dollars. Yes, we need to keep as many of them employed as we can because they provide services that are important. We do need to prioritize, I agree with you there, because our tax dollars are being paid for way more things than what they are intended to be paid for. Just as an aside, I'll keep this fast, I personally had to step out of my main family business and become an independent contractor. I've only paid myself up to September of 2010. I took on another business license and another small business in order to keep my family budget going. I reduced the top management pay by 21% to keep the lower people's wages in line, and those things are important. I realize that the public sector is hurting or in fear of losing theirs, but the private sector is already there. We've been there for 3 years.
Washington State, and one of the things we've had these nuclear plants for quite a while. We need to continue to work towards these. We are shutting down the coal-powered plants, and this is going to have a severe impact on our electrical grid. We can conserve all we want, but in the end, we're going to need more power. We have, because of great research that we've had at the University of Washington, they've come up with much cheaper ways of producing nuclear energy. Much better ways, and the fail-safe systems in these are so redundant that the concerns addressed here with being on a fault line are being addressed in those redundancies and those fail-safe measures.
I think nuclear energy is an important pathway forward for Washington State. If you're concerned about greenhouse gases, there are no emissions. Eastern Washington is a great place to put nuclear power at the Hanford Reservation, and I think something we should pursue in Washington State for the long-term viability of our region.
Mary Beth Tigo, I'm a small business owner. I want to applaud you on the small step, and it is a small step that you took on the vote for rolling back some of the unemployment insurance premiums and online premiums. However, I do want to state that that was a very small drop in the bucket. Even with that, our cost for keeping to keep 4 employees is going to go up by $8,000. I don't know where we're going to get that money. I see the state offering special deals to outside businesses. They'll tell them they don't have to pay the B&O tax if they'll just locate their business here. But the rest of us have to keep paying that B&O tax, which I remember Kelly Lidwell saying at one time that she wanted to repeal. I don't recall that there has ever been a bill to repeal that. Is there any movement afoot to get rid of that tax on those of us who are working and providing jobs in this country, in this state, but we're being punished for that privilege of working in Washington County and Washington State?
Senator Ericksen might have it, but I would just like to address you personally and the sector that you represent. And I think it's been wildly underrepresented here today. That is the reality. Our business community is I'm sorry for the terminology, it is hemorrhaging right now. It is absolutely hemorrhaging. And we're talking about how we save everything and not taking reductions from anything. We have to have that conversation so that you have breathing room. And you're right, that was a temporary solution. in the political situation that we're in down there, that is sometimes the best we can do, and everybody knows it's broken. Everybody knows it's broken, and you and I have talked personally about this. And it is frustrating to no end to watch the majority in Olympia conduct business as usual when our business community is dying. People are being laid off. People are being laid off. Local governments are going down in funding. And we are expanding programs, Mary Beth. We are creating empty buckets down there. We are wasting our time on things that do not matter right now, when the things that do matter are being left on the side, and we cannot plug a small gap in the context of the bigger gap that's coming. You need to know that we are down there trying to inject logic and reason into an environment that unfortunately most of the time is driven by emotion. It's driven by the special interests. There are people, and I said it in the context of the retirement and the pavement, there are people down there with the best of intent who know what's going on the ground at home, and we are working and we are fighting that fight.
Our last 5, everybody, we'll get through it. We got 12 minutes, so we'll go quick here.
Yeah, real quick. First of all, I want to say thank you to Vince for coming to the Lynden DSH's office and seeing the on-the-ground operation before he went down to Olympia and have an understanding of what's going on here in the local social services area. I want to say to Senator Ericksen, how much of a percentage of the whole deficit is negotiating the state contract going to save the state? That's my first question. Second question, sir, since you said you wanted to look at privatizing state services, have you seen the statistics on the states that privatize social services and the mortality of especially children at risk in those states rise once they do that?
Specifically, no, I haven't seen that study, and I can't give you a firm number on what rejecting the governor's collective bargaining agreement and renegotiating would give you in terms of percentage of the $6 billion deficit.
Hello, I'm Richard May. I go to church a couple blocks from here. Representative Overstreet, earlier someone brought up the state funding contraception, conception of women's supplies and such like that as a state-funded thing. And at that time, you expressed a very virtuous position that for you, matters of life shouldn't be a budgetary issue; it's a matter of principle. And so I'm looking at, in some troubled neighborhood in South Seattle. If people are being supplied with conception of women's supplies, they might avoid conception. And if they're not, if the state is not supplying those same people will conceive and then terminate their pregnancies. And so when I look at that equation, I see less requests for terminations when conception is avoided in the first place. Why would we want to fund? Why would we want to fund giving a condom to a teenager in South Seattle who would avoid a conception rather than conceive and terminate later?
Thanks for that question. And I just want to be clear that respectfully, the folks that care enough to pick up the phone and call us, and we appreciate it. Get on the computer and email us. Come down to Olympia and visit us. Everyone has the economic equation. For every dollar invested, we save 4 in the context of the question you're referring to. For every dollar invested, we save $2.53. For every dollar invested, we get $1 back in the federal government. That's the question that's in front of all of us. And I have to, and I generally, and I respectfully stop people. I don't stop them, I let them finish. And then I say, everyone who sits in my office makes that argument. I need to know where you think we should make the reductions. And it's usually silent. Everybody can make that ratioed argument. We're stepping over a dollar to save a dime. And in some cases it's true. But it's the economic reality that we're in. And so I would offer up to you, Socratically, in the form of a question, where do we take those reductions? Because Planned Parenthood has the same economic argument that the Opportunity Council does in dollars spent and saved and invested and saved, and likewise. So.
Hi, my name is Senator Johnson. I'm a local public school teacher here in Rockland County. I would say thank you for saying
First, I want to say I'm thrilled by the number of National Board Certified teachers who have been here tonight. I too have just completed the process. I've not yet heard whether I've passed, but I have to tell you that despite having 9 years of post-secondary education under my belt, this was the most rigorous evaluation of my performance as a teacher. More so than any class, any test I've ever taken. It is extremely well respected as an evaluation tool in the field by teachers, administrators, nationally respected, internationally recognized. So I have two questions around that. One, rather than eliminating the incentive for teachers to evaluate themselves, and we probably know only 40% of teachers who go through this process actually pass. So it seems like a very effective tool for determining who is an effective teacher. Rather than eliminating this incentive, why not include it some way in legislation regarding merit pay, performance pay for teachers? And second, my question is, when it comes to any legislation being written regarding evaluation of teacher performance in the state of Washington, will teachers and will our state teachers union have seats at the table when this legislation is designed on how we will be evaluated and how we will be paid? Will we be able to help you write and design our evaluation?
I definitely think that would be something we definitely need to have the school unions there. We have to have everybody. We have to have parents. We have to have teachers. We have to have the union representation. We want to have our school boards down there. We want to have this conversation because we need to look and ask the questions, how do we provide a quality education at the best price for the public? And everybody needs to be involved in that conversation.
Okay. And again, I'm asking again your position on national board certification. I haven't heard a real answer tonight. It's going to be looked at.
I'm not from the teaching community. I appreciate all the teachers that are here. And being a new legislator, I don't serve on a K-12 education committee. I'm on the higher education committee. I think what we need to do is we need to look at what is going to create and retain those quality educators. And at a cost we can afford. So whether it's incentive pay, whether it's merit pay, whether it, whatever you want to call it, let's look at those.
Really quick on it also. Just to try to be clear, going forward on this issue, is that the legislature set up a process to try to do some type of merit pay based upon the framework under which we operate up until today. If we do a restructuring of how we do compensation for teachers based upon some type of performance pay, it's important that the people who have made the investment, whether they get their MA or whether they go out to get their national board cert, that needs to be incorporated into the process as you determine the scale and scope of performance pay. That doesn't mean that going forward from today, the national board cert will be the same way it was when you were going through the program. So if we actually change the system, we'll probably change the way national board certification is treated in the future, but we have to use it and incorporate it, I think, into any type of performance pay model that might come out. So we got 2 more to go. I apologize. We're going to do it. We got 5 minutes, and then we're really over.
My name is Dee Wilderness. I'm a nurse practitioner. I've been practicing women's health care for 30 years. I have a big concern about what's going to happen to Title X. It will only take 115 unintended pregnancies to use up $1 million of the cut we're planning to make in Title X program. I also want to make the point that abortion is not family planning. It's a different issue entirely. And if we're not funding family planning, then we are going to have more abortions and we're going to have more unintended pregnancies that we're going to pay for a very long time.
Great.
Hello, my name is Monica Covia. I'm a retired quality assurance quality control inspector from Hanford. So I want to address the possibility that there may or may not be a reissuance of that boondoggle by looking at whoops 1, 3, and 4. Because if the state did, I would personally take it as a situation that was heading for a cliff. Because those 3 were mothballed for a reason. They were manufactured where there's lots of money, there's lots of people making money, not necessarily the people who are paying for it. So if you are all ever in a position to make that determination, they would make a better brothel than they would a nuclear reactor.
Well, each of us will say something while we're going out. I just want to thank everybody for coming out. And one thing I really want to recognize is the phenomenal respect the people of Whatcom County have for each other. It's an amazing day. We do have very difficult times, and we're talking about issues that are very important and very emotional to many people. So thank you for your kindness to each other. I think it's a true testament to how we're a bit different up here in the fourth corner of Whatcom County. We'll be around for a couple minutes afterwards. We are going to try to clear things out for the cleanup crew, but thank you for being here. Please get signed up for email update lists and stay in touch with all your legislators. So thank you, and Jason and Vince are going to say a couple things after.
Thank you very much for being here. We know it's probably not on the top of your list on a Saturday, especially if we need rainy Saturday. But the one comment that I would make is that as difficult as these decisions and these times are, your patience is much appreciated. It's a difficult situation we find ourselves in. We're working hard to get there, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate everybody who's coming out here. It's warm in here for me, so it must be warm out there for you guys too. So I appreciate everybody who's coming here. We need to, we've been saying it over and over, we need to set priorities, and we need to work on things that's going to get Washington working again, because that is where we're going to get out of this hole, and we're going to create new jobs, we're going to create new tax money that's going to go to pay for the programs that we need, and the solutions that we need to deliver to create better society here in Washington. So thank you for being here, appreciate your support, and encouragement in the next couple months as we go. Thank you.